St. George, one of Christianity's most celebrated martyrs, was born in the late 3rd century in the region of Cappadocia, which is in modern-day Turkey. George was born into a noble Christian family, with both parents deeply devoted to the teachings of Christ. His father, a respected nobleman, was a man of strong faith and character, revered in their community for his unwavering Christian beliefs and his efforts to serve the church. Sadly, George's father's life was cut short when he was martyred for his faith, leaving George and his mother to navigate a life without him. George's mother, a devout woman named Polychronia, was left to raise her son with the same devotion to Christianity that had marked her late husband's life. Polychronia's dedication to Christ was absolute, and she made it her mission to instill these same values in George. With the loss of her husband, Polychronia moved with George to Palestine, where George would be shaped by the environment and the Christian community around him. Raised in a devout Christian home, George was well educated in the tenets of the faith and brought up to understand that service to God was paramount above all else. His mother's commitment to raising George as a man of courage and integrity, grounded in the teachings of Christ, would set him on a path that would forever change the course of history. As George came of age, he, like many young men of noble lineage, sought to find his place in the world through a career that could bring honor and recognition. The Roman Empire, during the reign of Emperor Diocletian, was experiencing a period of consolidation after years of military strife, and George, with his strength, charisma, and noble heritage, saw an opportunity to join the Roman army. George joined the ranks of the Roman legions, quickly rising through the military ranks due to his remarkable skill, bravery, and leadership abilities. At first, George was like any other soldier, focused on his duties and eager to serve his empire. He fought in numerous battles across the empire's borders, defending the empire from barbarian invasions, and proved himself time and again as a valiant warrior. His reputation grew, and soon he earned the trust of Emperor Diocletian himself. George was appointed to the prestigious position of a tribune, a high-ranking officer in the Roman army. As a tribune, George's duties included overseeing the military strategy of the empire's forces and ensuring that the soldiers under his command were well disciplined. Yet, despite his success in the Roman army, George found himself growing increasingly uneasy with the pagan beliefs and practices of the empire. For all of his honor and the status he gained as a military officer, he began to feel a deep internal conflict between his Christian upbringing and the demands of Roman society. The Roman Empire at the time was a polytheistic society, where the worship of a multitude of gods was seen as essential to the maintenance of order and prosperity. Yet George's faith in Christ could not be reconciled with this pagan way of life. It was not long before the empire, under Emperor Diocletian, began a brutal campaign against Christians. Diocletian, a ruler who had known both military triumph and political unrest, became deeply suspicious of the growing influence of Christianity. Christianity, which was rapidly spreading through the Roman Empire, was seen by many in the Roman establishment as a threat to the traditional Roman religious and political order. Diocletian, believing that religious unity was crucial to the stability of his empire, sought to eradicate the Christian faith. The persecution of Christians began with the systematic destruction of churches, the arrest of Christian leaders, and the forced participation of Christians in pagan rituals, meant to denounce their allegiance to Christ. This brutal campaign, known as the Great Persecution, swept across the empire, reaching its height around the early 4th century. Christians were imprisoned, tortured, and put to death, their only crime being their steadfast belief in Christ. For George, the situation became increasingly difficult. As a high-ranking officer in the Roman army, he was well aware of the dangers that Christians now faced, and yet his Christian beliefs were more deeply ingrained than ever. The time came when Emperor Diocletian ordered all soldiers, including George, to perform a public sacrifice to the Roman gods as an act of loyalty to the empire. The order was clear. All those who refused to perform the sacrifice would be executed. For George, this presented a moral dilemma. His loyalty to the Roman Empire was unquestionable, but his loyalty to Christ was even more. He would refuse to sacrifice to the pagan gods, even if it meant death. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and share the video, and subscribe the channel. Story will be continued in the second part.